Let
Yeah.
me ask you, you've talked about pulling in reluctant readers, and as I was reading Alienated, I noticed obviously you've kept the chapters short. There's a lot of action. You're never going very long without action, and there's a lot of humor. Is that markedly different than when you're writing for older readers? And can you talk a little bit about what techniques specifically you employ for middle grade writing?
Yeah, I think, in a weird way, and this wasn't that conscious, but if you remember those Choose Your Own Adventure books, they were very short chapters, and then you got to make a decision. And I think one of the things I wanted to do with Alienated is I wanted to have fairly short chapters so that a reader could feel a sense of accomplishment. I think when you get to the end of a chapter, if you're a reluctant reader, you feel like, man, that's good. Look, I've just read 10 chapters or 20 chapters. And I think part of what I can do as a writer for that audience is I can offer them that sense of accomplishment. The humor helps, right? Because if you keep people laughing, they want to keep going. And we all love to laugh. But I think the idea of having sort of short, clippy chapters helps because you just get this sense of, hey, I can keep going. I can do this. I can read one more. Oh, it's only a few more pages. I'll keep going. I think it's something that we can offer the reader.
It's a nice feeling of accomplishment when you get there and get there quickly.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I think that's right. And I think for people who are, are building up their level of confidence, my hope is, I mean, Alienated is, it's not an easy read. I mean, there's some big ideas and there's some big concepts and there's even some big words. But I'm also a big believer that somebody who might be a bit of a reluctant reader, maybe they're not going to get 100% of the vocabulary that's in the book, but they're going to understand what's going on, and that maybe they'll graduate out of Alienated and they'll tackle they'll tackle something that's a bit beefier, a bit meatier. But at the same time, I just hope they have a great ride.
And what is it you're hoping that most, other than a great ride, that readers will take away from Alienated?
I think there's a lot of lessons in here. I think there's definitely a big lesson about inclusiveness and about friendship and being friends with people who are, in the most extreme way, fundamentally different from you. And I think one of the things that not only we, as people who are looking after the interests of young people, but just people, frankly, on the planet, there's a lot of division out there right now. And there's a lot of people who are seeking to exploit division. And I actually think one of the themes of Alienated is, what? We're kind of all the same deep down. We can just get along. We can just get along. So that's probably the biggest thing for me is this idea of, and I know there's lots of words that are thrown around, diversity and representation and inclusion, but, fundamentally, this is about the most diverse character set you can get. And really, everybody gets along in the end in a way that's really, really beautiful, actually.
So that young readers might say, well, okay, some of the kids in my class are different from me, but we're all humans. At least we're not we're not that different. We could find a way to make this work.
That's kind of the gag. Yeah, that's kind of the gag is, I think we as human beings do all sorts of things to make ourselves be different from other people, culturally, religion, whatever you name it. But actually, we're all very, very similar. And I think if we remember that, we can get along a lot better. And I think whether that's in a classroom environment or whether that's at a geopolitical level, I think it's a lesson worth remembering. And it's a lesson that comes very organically through the drama and the comedy in Alienated.